Hi, I'm Subhashni, and let's take the next step of actually seeing how to start and solve for a interactive dashboard and reporting project for the pharma industry. You will find the link to the dataset in the comments below, in the description below. And I also want to tell you that the dataset you will find over there is a slightly larger dataset. So I hope you will see this video and try your hand out on the slightly larger dataset. The first thing to remember, of course, is the Decova and I process. And to do that, what I do is I just chart it out as a checklist for myself that I don't miss out any part of the project. So we know D, it is defined. We define two things, the problem statement and the data set. And over here, when we look at the define, we have to create a interactive dashboard. And what is the takeaway that we want from the dashboard? Which shows how different variables change the insurance amount. So that is the purpose of the dashboard. We want to be able to understand how the different variables or columns that are in the data change the insurance amount. So if we go back to the data and check here, the charges, this is actually insurance charges. So here what I can do is I can actually rename this. Okay. Um, about the data is provided and that's the only amount of data that we have. Okay, there's no extra. So we really don't need to do anything much in the collect stage. If we did not have all the data together in the collect stage, we would have got the data together. So we just put out as not required. Hmm. Though there are four things we do in the organized stage, uh, for a visualization project, we only need to do two things, which is one is understand the missing values. And the second that we need to do is to understand the, if we want to create any derived or grouped variables. Then, of course, is the visualize part, which is the focus of it. For this project, we really don't, um, you know, create any of the benchmarks. So this is a very initial project. We are just doing a data discovery. So the analyze phase, we can just put it as not required. I will show you this same data set with the benchmarks created in another video. This is going to be the comments and takeaways. There are two ways to understand missing values. One is doing it with um, formulas. So what is it? We can just count the data across all of the columns and see if there are missing values. We won't find the values or the count of cells to be the similar. How do I do it? I can just go to formulas and here I can do an insert function and I can just look at count functions, right? Now here you can see there is one option called count blank. So I can just do count blank and where do I want to check for blank? I want to check here. I've just copied it and you can see that there are no missing values in the data. What is the other way of understanding missing values? The other way of understanding missing values is by inserting a pivot table. Now, one of the things I enjoy doing is going to the pivot table options and checking on the classic pivot table layout. Now here you will notice if I just put in the values and ensure that so I can see there's 1338 values which are populated by region, by smoker, by BMI. You can see here, by sex. Okay. So I can say with quite confidence that there is no missing values out over here. Okay. Instead of count of age, I could also have checked out the Y variable itself, which is the problem statement, which is the insurance charges. Here you will notice that I can use any part, right? Here I can do the value field settings and say count, or I could have done it here. Okay. So what we've concluded is there are no missing values. We'll just put this out here. Mm. Do we need to derive or group some variables? Again, grouping we can do in two ways. We can do it through a formula or we can do it here in the pivot. So, of course, sex is a categoric variable. We have seen it already, only male, female. We have smoker also, which is a categoric variable. And we have region also, which is a categoric variable. What is not a categoric variable is the BMI and the age. BMI is a continuous variable and age is a continuous variable. What are the ways that we can um, do the grouping? If you remember, as I mentioned to you, if you just want it for the sake of the pivot, we can do it in the pivot itself. So if I want to club out the age, I want to say less than 30, less than or up to 30. Then up to 50. This is 30 to 50. And then I want to understand greater than 50. Okay, I've made three categories within this. I've grouped it. And the thing is that when after grouping it, I can see it in the pivot. However, you will notice that nothing has changed in the data set. Nothing has changed in the data set. What is the other way of doing it? The other way of doing it is to actually create a column within the data set. So I say PMI group. And if I go here and look it up, I have BMI from 15 up to 53. So I want to group it out saying less than 30 um, or less than 25, 25 to 45 and greater than 45. So I put in a formula is equals to if I'm saying less than equal to 45, then I want to call it up to 45. If it's less than equal to 25, I want to call it up to 25, sorry. Then the second category I want to create is if this value greater than 45, then I want to call it greater than 45. Else, if it is in between, I want to say 25 to 40. Okay. And if I do this, it is calculated over here. You will notice that now when I go to the pivot table and I say refresh, what happens is the BMI group as a field comes into the pivot table and I can use it to do my visualizations, right? So it is up to you the way you want to do it. But if you do it within the data set, you will notice that uh, the change is permanent in that sense. While if you do it in the pivot, it is not permanent. If you delete this pivot, you will have to regroup. Now, what is the main aim of this session? It is to understand how to create slicers and how to link a chart to a pivot. Because the next session we'll do the more advanced version of creating the dashboard in itself. So here we go. What we do is we go, if I was to take something as simple as this, I will go here. And what I really want to do is I want to also know the average of the insurance charges. Okay. So two things I want to know. I want to know the count and the average. Insert recommended charts and I can see what I want. So this is the count of values, how many males and females, and I want the average of the values. So I do both of that. I say, actually, I will do something. I'm going to actually show you also how to make it and create a secondary axis. These are the options that we have. So what is it showing me? It's showing me the count of females and the count of males, and it's also showing me the value, the average value of the insurance in females and the average value of the insurance in males. What I've done is I've created a secondary axis. So here the average value can be seen on this axis, while the count can be seen on this axis. I can, of course, go and check out a few options. What do I want? Okay. Now you'll notice that I got all these over here. And of course, one of the options is that I can just choose over here and the graph will change, right? This is one of the options. But this is a bit tedious and it's not in the format of dashboards that we are used to looking at. So one of the things that we can do is we remove all these values and put what is called a slicer. Okay, just adjusting this. We can put the legend at the bottom to give it, if you feel that this looks better. Okay, and keep it near here. And I can go to insert, and here you will notice that I can insert slicers. Okay, so I just choose this area within the pivot table and I go to slicer and I can insert the slicers. What am I inserting? Suppose these are the slicers I wish to insert. Here you go. Now, if I want to just understand that by gender, for smokers, what is the count and the average? Sorry. For region and smoker, yes, what is the count and the average? For a certain age group, region, and smoker, yes, what is the count and the average? I can see all of it in the visualization. So I hope this basic video has been of help to you, and we will do the advanced dashboards in the next video. Okay, see you then.